please rise and remove any head cover. I'm going to call on Commissioner Smith for the invocation and the pledge.
Everybody will bow your head. Heavenly Father, we come to you asking for wisdom and grace as we host this meeting, Lord. Be with us and state and federal leaders. Help us make the best decisions for the people and citizens we represent. We ask you to be with our soldiers serving overseas, protect them, give them comfort and peace. Be with our first responders as they keep our community safe. And as we celebrate Agricultural Week, please be with our farmers in this complicated environment and bring rain to our community in South Georgia. We ask for your guidance, your grace, and your forgiveness in all that we do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. Commissioners, inside your packet, you'll find your minutes of the work session of March the 9th, as well as your regular session minutes from March the 10th. If there are no additions, deletions, or corrections to those minutes, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Can we have a motion to approve by Ms. Evans? Do I have a second? We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 5A is our first appointment. This is for the Valdosta Lowndes County Zoning Board of Appeals. Ms. Dukes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, Commissioners. The terms of Mr. John McCall and Mr. John Hogan have expired. Both gentlemen have expressed interest in being reappointed. Also, Mr. Travis Cox is interested in being appointed to the Valdosta Lowndes County Zoning Board of Appeals.
Any questions for Ms. Dukes?
No.
All right.
Mr.
Hearing
Chairman,
none, I'll open the floor up for nominations.
I would like to recommend Travis Cox.
Okay, we have a motion for Mr. Travis Cox.
It's
John
Chairman.
Hogan. We have Mr. John Hogan
John McCall.
and Mr. John McCall. All right, we'll take them in the order. Are there any other nominations? All right, hearing none. All in favor of Mr. Travis Cox, please raise your hand. Okay, that's 3-2. All in favor of Mr. John Hogan? 2. And Mr. John McCall? Ms. Evans? Are you voting for Mr. McCall? No? You are. Okay, so now we have 3 votes.
What's that?
Correct. Did I get that right?
John McCall. Oh, okay.
Help me understand it, because we had 2 votes for Mr. Hogan.
Okay.
All right, so now we have the votes for Mr. McCall, and we have 3 votes for Mr. McCall. Right. Okay.
And 3
Just
for
want to
Travis
make
Cox.
sure I'm straight. All right, then the 2 appointments would be Mr. Travis Cox and Mr. John McCall. All okay, Counselor?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. All right, we'll move on now to agenda item 5B, and this is for appointment for the Lowndes County Development Authority. Ms. Dukes.
Mr. Robert Green was appointed in July of 2025 to fill an unexpired term. The term expired January the 9th of 2026. Mr. Green is interested in being reappointed. Also, Dr. Beverly Richardson Blake is interested in being appointed.
Okay. Any questions from Ms. Dukes? Okay, I'll open the floor up for nominations.
I nominate Ms. Blake.
Okay, we have Ms. Blake. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, then we'll close the nominations, and Ms. Beverly Blake will be appointed by acclamation.
Mr. Chairman, can you call each one up so we can meet them? Because they'll never know the appointees until it's too late.
So you want them to stand up so we can meet them? All right. Is Mr. Travis Cox, we'll back up. Is Mr. Travis Cox here? Congratulations, sir. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for putting your application in.
Thank you.
Mr. Hogan with us? Or Mr. McCall with us? Okay. Ms. Blake with us? Okay. Thank you all. All right, we'll move on now to agenda item 5C, and this is the Valdosta Lowndes County Land Bank Authority. Ms. Dukes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. James Miller's term expired January the 31st of 2025. Mr. Miller is interested in being reappointed. Also, Mr. Jack Oliver's term in the at-large position also expired January the 31st, 2025. The Land Bank Authority recommends the appointment of Mr. Ken Overman to fill this at-large position. Also, this at-large position would have to be approved by Lowndes County as well as the City of Valdosta.
Okay. Any questions for Ms. Dukes?
Yes, I could recommend Jane Miller.
Okay, I will open up the floor for nominations, and Ms. Evans has nominated Mr. James Miller. Are there any other nominations?
Nominate Ken
Ken
Overman.
Overman.
Mr. Overman, okay. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll close the nominations. And each one of those will be appointed by acclamation, because you needed the two positions, correct?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Overman's position will be the one that will need to be
Approved by the
also
city.
approved by the City of Valdosta.
Yes.
He's the at-large. Okay?
Chairman, I guess Mr. Oliver, Jack Oliver, did not want to serve again.
I don't have the answer to that question for you,
No.
but
According to the
apparently not.
clerk, no.
He did not.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we'll now move on to agenda item 5D, and this is for an appointment to the South Georgia Community Service Board. Ms. Dukes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Cindy Vickery's term expired March the 10th of 2026. Ms. Vickery is not interested in being reappointed. Ms. Casey Horn and Ms. Chanel Randolph are both interested in being appointed to the board.
I nominate,
Oh,
sorry,
give me a minute. Okay, I'll open the floor up for nominations.
I nominate Casey Horn.
All right, we have is that a Mr. or Mrs.?
Miss.
Mrs. Casey Horn.
Casey Horn.
Mr. Chairman, I nominate Ms.
One second, please, hold on.
Okay.
All right,
I nominate Chanel Randolph.
okay, and Ms. Chanel Randolph. All right, we only have one position, so I'll call for the votes for Ms. Casey Horn first. All in favor of Ms. Casey Horn, please raise your hand. Okay. That's 3-2, so Ms. Casey Horn will be appointed to fill that seat of Ms. Cindy Vickery's. All right, we'll now move on to agenda item 6A, and this is the beer and wine license for Alexander Clay Tyson of J Boys LLC, DBA J Boys Number 1. The address is 3661 Madison Highway. Ms. Black.
Yes, sir, thank you. As we discussed yesterday, this is for J-Boys on Madison Highway. It's for beer and wine for consumption off premise, and this is a new location.
Okay. Any questions from Ms. Black? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Can we have a motion to approve? Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 6B is the J Boys easement exchange. This is tax parcel 0134051. It is located at Whitewater Road in the Madison Highway. Mr. Stalvey.
Yes, sir. Cobrod One LLC owns this property at this intersection, and they're requesting an easement exchange here in order for some structures to be in an area that's unused. And the area that they're offering in exchange, it's the current area is 2.11. The new area will be 0.49. That will include where the pipes are now and the additional area needed. Staff recommends approval of the easement and authorize the chairman to sign the documents.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Stalvey? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the easement exchange.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the easement exchange. Do I have a second? I have a second by Mr. Weisenbaker. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 6C is the Advanced Disposal Services Residential Solid Waste Franchise Renewal. Mr. Beals.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, Commissioners. As we talked about yesterday, the current non-exclusive residential solid waste franchises are set to expire on March 31st of this month. Advanced Disposal has submitted their renewal application. It is complete, and they have expressed their desire to continue providing services to the residents for the upcoming year. They currently serve 8,410 households and charge $21.62 per month. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Mr. Beals?
They didn't have any increase, but you're saying they can have a little bit of increase yesterday? They still have margin?
That's correct. In 2023, the board adopted a not-to-exceed level of $25 per month. Right now, they're at $21.62, so there is some room there for them to increase if they desire to do so.
Thank you.
But you haven't had that request.
And that request does not exist, no, sir.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions?
And these are residential. They have a good many commercial accounts.
They do have commercial accounts, but the ordinance itself is only in concerns to residential, that's correct.
Okay, if there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the proposed renewed franchise for residential solid waste collection services for advanced disposal services, solid waste southeast, and authorize the chairman to sign the documents.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the Advanced Disposal Services Residential Solid Waste Franchise Renewal and authorize the chairman to sign the agreement.
Second.
Do I have a second? I have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 6D is the Deep South Sanitation LLC's Residential Solid Waste Franchise Renewal. Mr. Beals.
Yes, sir. Deep South has also submitted their application, and they have provided all elements of the application as requested. They've expressed their desire to renew their franchise. They're currently serving 8,637 households, and they're charging $22 per month for that service. A question that came up yesterday was in regards to second cans. The additional fee for a second can is $5. Talking with Deep South the other day, while they have 8,637 households, they have over 10,000 cans in the field from people requesting additional cans.
Trashy people.
All right, any other questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. Thank you, Mr. Beals.
Motion to
Thank you.
approve renewing Deep South's franchise.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the vote. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Agenda item 7, County Manager's Report. Ms. Dukes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening again, Commissioners. As of March of 2026, the entire state of Georgia falls under the Water Stewardship Act. Some of you may have remembered in past years, whenever we faced extreme drought conditions, we were required to implement some local watering restrictions, water management, some of those things. So the Water Stewardship Act applies to the entire state. It prohibits landscape irrigation from watering from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. This does not affect vegetable gardens. It doesn't affect hand watering. If you've got something you need to put a little water on. But I want to invite Ashley Ty to come up and talk about what the National Weather Service is saying as far as our drought outlook. I think this leads into our residential burn restrictions. Also, we have seen times in the past when the state of Georgia put even stricter conditions on water management that extended to local communities. They have not done that yet. I think that they're hoping that the Water Stewardship Act affiliation will get everyone's attention there, but if we don't get some rain and we move into the warmer months, we could see some additional restrictions. So I just want to make sure that we're following that where you all are concerned in case there's something resolution-wise or something else that comes down from the state. And then this also leans into where we are with wildfire season. I'm gonna ask Chief Young to talk about that after Ashley's finished.
So every week, while we're in the current drought conditions, the National Weather Service puts out a drought information statement to provide us the latest information on where we stand with the drought, what the outlook is. And it comes out every Thursday. So last Thursday, they said the current drought conditions are the worst we've seen in this area since 2012. So been quite a while. And they don't really see any short-term relief in the near future. One of the biggest changes in last week's update, so this entire area has been in D3. So there's 4 categories of drought. So we were in extreme drought, and we have been for quite a while now. Well, as of Thursday, an area from Grady County over to Lowndes and down into Madison, we are now in D4, exceptional drought, which is the highest category of drought that they issue. Some of what's contributed to that is, even though some people think, well, we've had a couple of rain showers lately, but even those rain showers, when they look at what's normal for the time of year based off of historical averages, even those rainfall amounts have been lower than what we would normally see this time of year. So we're still seeing below normal rainfall. Temperatures are actually a little higher than normal by about 4 to 5 degrees. So that means when rain does fall on the already dry soil, it evaporates a lot faster. So they're expecting the drought conditions to persist. We are hopefully going to get into have a rainier spring, but it will be mid to late May at the earliest, and more likely into June before we get enough rainfall to really make a difference in the drought conditions. To give you an example, so in the last 90 days, we've had 6 inches of rain, and we should, in any normal year, we'd have double that. And one of the other things that they mentioned in their report is now we're getting into the planting season. Agriculture is, ironically, it is Agricultural Week, and we're talking about this, so the agriculture is very important for this area. One of the things that does for the drought, though, is since ponds and above ground water stores are not as abundant as they normally would, farmers are going to rely heavily on irrigation, which again is going to have an impact overall on the drought. So to the point Ms. Dukes was making about the water stewardship, from an emergency management standpoint, we look at this as, okay, we know that we're in a drought, have been for a while, don't see any relief in sight. Little things that we can do to mitigate those efforts now will reduce the impacts we see. So hopefully, if everybody will be good stewards and suffer is not a good word, but everybody kind of dials back a little bit, we can conserve the water and hopefully not get into the point where the state's having to impose further restrictions, and we can minimize the impact it's going to have on us locally. It's inconvenient when your grass is crunchy and you don't have a green grass, but what we don't want to get into is what we saw the last major drought we had before 2012. I think it was 2011, and we're not quite there yet. There were a lot of wells that had to be drilled deeper, even some with municipal water systems. So we don't want to get to the point where the aquifers drop into the point. I think Chad from engineering would say that the other thing we saw last time we had a significant drought is as the aquifer drops, then that lends itself to the soil giving way, and we saw sinkholes.
Don't say the word.
Yeah.
Just don't say the word.
So there are a lot of compounding factors that can happen. You know, it's not just, you know, everybody thinks, oh, drought means it's dry, and that's true, but there's a lot of other consequences that go along with that. So that's why we're trying to manage it so well, monitor it, and really be proactive in our efforts to mitigate the impacts of the drought. So if you got any questions specifically about the Weather Service report or anything, I'd be glad.
Any questions for Mr. Ty?
Yes, realizing we've been under the no burn restriction for some time now, and of course, it's only going to get hotter, and we got the sun and so forth, just baking that ground as well as everything else. Do we have anything in place or entertaining possibly a drop-off site for those who have residential debris that they'd like to discard? I know we're not allowing them to burn it, but perhaps a dump site or something like that, or some kind of
I will
option.
defer to Ms. Dukes on that one.
Yeah, it can be taken to the drop-off collection sites that you also drop your bulk waste off. They will take yard debris there.
I realize some residents may not have the service, is what I'm getting at.
Sure, we can get Kevin to reach out to the haulers and see if they've got an extra accommodation that they can, maybe they'll work with us on that through this season, given the fact that we can't really burn right now. I think to your point, which is a good one, Commissioner Marshall, you'll hear from Chief Young here in a minute that's where many of our grass fires are coming from right now, and we had a big one yesterday off of Boring Pond Road that Forestry had to respond to, and then we had to protect structures. So Chief Young will talk about that here in a second. And I do want to remind you all, I know we're in the middle of budget and we're still working on our GMA reimbursement as far as our hurricane stuff goes, but sinkholes are not something that's covered by insurance. And so if we should have something like that open up, similar to Snake Nation Road that fell in 20 plus years ago, that was almost a $2 million repair that had to come out of fund balance. So we hope that we won't have those, but I just want to let you know that we don't throw those two words around lightly, because that is required to come out of fund balance if we should have to reroute a road again or work with someone on that.
When we do water restrictions, is there anybody, I mean, our agricultural community is exempt from
Correct.
that.
Correct.
Golf courses,
Usually anything related to sustainability of an existing business is going to be exempt. What they really look at is residential water management and landscape irrigation, even if it is commercial, which, we would, from a code enforcement standpoint, be kind to folks if, we had new development go in and they lost their landscaping, and because they couldn't water, that would be something that we could work with them on long term. And we've not heard from the state that that's going to be something that's handed down, but it has several times in the past over the last 20 years. So we just want you all to be prepared. Ms. Barwick will usually get messaging from the state if we should need to do that. Maybe there's some rain around the corner and we won't get there. I just think that beyond hurricanes and snow, this is probably the next weather environment that can really sneak up on us from a management standpoint. I mean, if we don't have enough water, we got bigger problems. So.
I think I remember years ago, you watered on your day based on your house number, odd
Yep.
or even or
Yep.
something.
Yep.
You could only do it like 3 days a week or something, so.
And
We'll see
correct
what-
me if I'm wrong, but emergency management, and I don't believe utilities, we don't impose the restrictions. We just provide the messaging that's provided by the state,
Correct.
usually DNR. So,
Correct.
so whatever regulations and exemptions and all is nothing that we come up with. We just have to pass along whatever we're told to pass along.
You all,
Any other,
I'm sorry, Mr.
I'm
Chairman.
just saying, any other questions for Mr. Ty?
but wouldn't it be wise to be proactive now and to get those messages out as best we can, to say we're not imposing anything at this point, but we're this could be a consideration in the near future. Like me, I mean, now that I know that, I mean, I like my green grass, but I also
Yeah.
don't want to contribute to.
And I believe Miss Barwick, she and I have communicated pretty much every week when this comes out, we communicate, and so I think some of that messaging has been going out, but maybe point taken, we'll work and see if that needs to be more aggressively.
And the Water Stewardship Act information just went into effect this month, so I wanted to share that with you all publicly, and then we'll have some information that goes out on that. And really, there's the question as far as green grass and making sure that you're still drought resistant, which you can water it too much. And then the other thing is it's always been smarter to water it at night or early in the morning so that it has time to soak in before the sun hits it and it just dries off.
It's also mindful to remind everybody that the wildlife itself is out and about a lot more too, to do the drought. I saw another hit animal too on the way coming, so.
That is true.
Yeah, Mr. Smith, I would also add, about 2 meetings ago, Commissioner Weisenbaker's prayer asked for rain, and he got 1.5 inches. So the pressure's on you.
Yes, sir.
No, seriously, we could sure use some rain, and as we always say, the good Lord will provide the rain when He's ready to provide us the rain. We just have to manage through it until we get it. So.
That's right. Amen.
So, Mr. Chairman, a more real-time impact of that is what fire departments across Georgia are facing right now. Chief Young, if you'd like to come up and talk about our recent response and what you all are doing, and also the importance of prioritizing the brush trucks as far as our replacement there goes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. So, just to echo kind of what Mr. Ty was saying, we are in them drought conditions, and we are still seeing an uptick in our wildfire response. Currently this month, we're at 54, which puts us at year-to-date 206 wildfire calls. To what Ms. Dukes was saying a while ago about Bourne Pond Road, just to give you an example of the fire growth and the rapid fire growth that we're seeing, a lot of it is from yard debris piles. People are still burning, and it is escaping their means of trying to keep it, at bay. So yesterday, what we were seeing was on Bourne Pond Road was the hurricane blowdown. We arrived on scene. We had a pretty good working woods fire. Our guys set up on structural protection. We did lose a recreational vehicle, and we did have damage to one of the structures before we arrived on scene. But once we arrived on scene, we contained the yard debris fire that we could contain. And then it turned into a Georgia Forestry operation. And so we had multiple units on scene. Georgia Forestry had multiple units on scene. And where their struggle was from the hurricane blowdown. The tractor operators got into some situations. They had to call in an airplane. If you've ever been around a wildfire, the airplane that's up around 5,000 feet, they're circling, and they're giving information back to the tractor operators. And so they had a pond that they were trying to deal with and the blowdown. So we're just seeing from all the debris that's on the ground in the wooded areas, we're just seeing a real impact on fire behavior to where it's really increasing. And, what Ms. Dukes was saying, our EVT, our maintenance division, they're keeping our brush trucks up and going. It's a struggle at times with the years of service, they've already put in for us. But they're keeping them running for us, and the brush trucks is a must. We have to have them to keep up with, especially the current conditions that we're in with this wildfire season.
So our biggest problem is wildfires, not structure fires. Do you know how many structure fires we have had that's just a structure, not caused by a wildfire, to this date?
To give you an exact number, no, sir, I did not pull that data before I came. I think at the retreat, we were around 40 some odd structure fires. Now we have received some damage to some structures from these wildfires escaping, so.
Can I, and you may not be able to answer this perfectly, but with Georgia Forestry, does every county have a Georgia Forestry like staffed operation, or is it more a regional approach?
So around our area, every county has a Georgia Forestry. Now, I was in conversation with the chief from the Tiff County. Recently, they combined their units, and they're in Turner County now. So Tiff County, I think, is the closest county to us.
And how many would you say Georgia Forestry has when they working of firefighters or people for our
Well, like
community? Like, do they?
Yesterday, they had 4 on that scene. They had 2 tractor operators. They have a Type 6 engine, which is a brush truck. They had an operator on it because they have a Type 6 engine also, and their chief ranger was there as a supervisor.
When you
Crit-
say
it's critical.
tractor, you referring to a dozer?
Bulldozer, yes, sir.
But it's critical we upgrade those brush trucks or get new brush trucks.
Yes, sir. We're getting ours is, they've been used pretty good bit, so,
We can take care of that.
yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you for your efforts.
Thank you, Chief. Last, Mr. Chairman, I just want to thank you all for being at the ribbon cutting yesterday at the sheriff's office for the new mental health wing at the jail. I think that I speak on behalf of all of our staff that's involved in either budgeting or working with those families or working with our staff that serve those people every day, that we are grateful for your support. We are grateful for your vision, certainly for the sheriff and letting us move that project forward. Mr. McLeod and his team did a fantastic job managing the project. And then knowing that there's so much that you all have talked about, specifically Commissioner Evans and Commissioner Marshall, over the last few years in the community there that's going to be served. It is our goal, along with some help with from Ms. Roundtree and misdemeanor probation, to divert as many of those folks into the care that they need prior to them even having to enter the jail. That's not always going to be possible. So to now know that we've got a facility that's better able to serve those citizens, we are all very proud and look forward to the difference that it makes in our community. So thank you for that.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else?
Yes, sir.
All righty. Before I move into citizens wishing to be heard, do we have any folks with Leadership Lounge with us tonight? If you would, please stand, be recognized. Thank you for going through that process. That's a great program. All right, our first citizen wishing to be heard is Miss Mary Rowe. Miss Rowe, come forward and state your name again and your address, please, for the record.
I am Mary Rowe. I reside at 4515 Jones Lane, Lake Park, Georgia, 31636. To the commissioners.
Miss Mary, would you please pull the microphone down? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Nadia? Okay. To the commissioners, we are concerned only about paving Green Road instead of fixing on it. We have endured a long wait period, putting up with traveling the road when it rains several days. Commissioners, we want the road paved because more relatives are and want to build on their parents' property. But the rainy condition of the road make them want to change their mind. Commissioners, please consider paving Green Road instead of fixing on it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, our next speaker is Mr. Michael Knoll. Please come forward and state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Chairman Slaughter, Commissioners. It's good to see you again. My name is Michael Knoll. I live at 2305 Glendale Drive. The historian Daniel Boorstin once stated that the greatest enemy of knowledge is not ignorance, it's the illusion of knowledge. One way or the other, we are all ignorant to a degree. The issue of data centers is no exception. The real question is what illusions do exist regarding data centers. I carefully read Gary Weisenbaker's column, Data Centers Done Right Can Work for Georgia in February. Also looked closely at a recent column by PCS Chair Jason Shaw, Georgia Does It Right with Data Centers. While I must disagree with certain assertions made by these individuals, there's one statement I believe we can agree on. Data centers and AI are here to stay, just as computers are. Lone citizens against data centers are not anti-growth, as some may believe. We are against the lack of smart growth, a lack of transparency, and a lack of communication. Thus far, if we have not received a response from the Lowndes County Board of Commissioners regarding our request to impose a moratorium and to form a committee of citizens and government officials to work on the question of data centers together. The question is why? You know by now what our major concerns are, so I will not repeat them. However, allow me to focus on two issues today. What economic reality is Jason Shaw referring to in his recent column? He mentions an analysis by the University of Georgia without providing the actual source. He then speaks of the creation of tens of thousands of jobs and billions of dollars in economic output statewide, without differentiating between temporary and permanent jobs, and without acknowledging the fact that the Georgia Department of Audit and Accounts revealed in January that numbers for the actual production and economic value coming from data centers are inflated. The handout you just received was created by the well-respected Food and Water Watch Group, a Washington, D.C.-based NGO. It is titled, Artificial Jobs, the Illusion of Big Tech-Backed Data Centers Employment Claims. To quote from its conclusion, while the data center industry would like to promote its development as a boon to local communities, we show that the actual job record of data centers is remarkably dismal. Added as a recent assessment by Good Jobs First, a national policy resource center that promotes corporate and government accountability and economic development. Based on their research, Georgia is expected to lose about $2.5 billion of sales tax exemptions because of the data centers in the fiscal year of 2026. So what exactly is the economic reality Jason Shaw is talking about? My second point, particularly important in the context of a discussion we had earlier about water scarcity in our drought conditions. My second point for today is the issue of closed-loop cooling systems, a system DC blocks may be using. While a closed-loop cooling system uses less water than an evaporative cooling system, it is not closed, as one might believe. Think of it as a gigantic car radiator, except the volume is hundreds of thousands of gallons or more. The system must be topped off occasionally, and there are blowdowns where a portion of the cooling water is removed, including contaminants like anti-corrosives, anti-scaling agents, and biocides. This is a major problem for communities and ecosystems. Why? Because water treatment facilities are often not able to handle these contaminants, so that a blowdown may simply end up in the nearby river. Clearly, we must carefully reflect on what we may be getting ourselves into. On the comments made earlier, and I was paying close attention to the drought index, and we are indeed in an extreme drought condition now for some time. I've also paid close attention to the issue of global climate change, as the carbon dioxide contents in the atmosphere have reached 429 parts per million. And that is going to be one of the areas where we'll be focusing on at our next town hall. So please mark your calendar for our next public town hall meeting on April 17 with experts who are not just familiar with Georgia's Public Service Commission. The town hall will also focus on the true cost of data center expansion, on consumer protection, on the question of high utility bills, despite any freezing rates we might see for a short amount of time, and the potential impact of our decisions on a topic that's been largely neglected as of late, climate change. Drought-like conditions will not be an exception. Extreme weather events will not be an exception. When we have a competition for a scarce source like water, we have to think about water restrictions, whether or not we can be watering our lawn, whether or not farmers have the water they need to do their job. We have to really carefully look at what we're doing. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next speaker is Tatiana Babcock. Please come forward and state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Tatiana Babcock, and I live at 3561 Skeet Range Road. I'm one of the homeowners whose property line directly touches the 719-acre site under discussion for the potential hyperscale data center development. I have several concerns regarding this potential project, many of which other residents have already stated at past meetings. One of my primary concerns has to do with one of the specific protective conditions that were outlined as part of the rezoning and that had occurred last July, which could not be any clearer. Condition number 4 explicitly states that a 200-foot undisturbed buffer shall be required along the northern and southern property lines abutting current residential zoning district boundaries. That condition appears to already have been violated when in the interim, the property owner conducted a thinning cut of the property during which they proceeded to clear trees up to and over my property line. in the process destroying a section of the fence running the property line and leaving the debris from the destroyed fence, damaged trees, and track marks from the heavy machinery involved on my property, which remain there today. In other words, before any development plans, DRI applications, or permits have even been submitted, as the county itself confirmed just 2 weeks ago on March 9th, a violation has already occurred. It is also important to point out that a 200-foot undisturbed buffer is clearly not sufficient when it comes to its ability to buffer the light and noise pollution that comes with the data centers. That's not even close to the buffer needed to maintain a quality of life that we and our neighbors can still enjoy today. Then last week on March 17th, a company by the name of Terracon Consultants, Inc., a company that explicitly serves the digital infrastructure sector, including data centers specializing in geotechnical borings and environmental assessments, arrived on the site with heavy equipment and began work. This is perhaps also a good time to point out that part of our property and the property of the individual who intends to sell his land to DC Blocks provides habitat for wildlife like deer and protected species like the gopher tortoise and the eastern indigo snake. So to come back to my primary concern, if this project moves forward, as that appears to be what is happening, and if the landowner cannot or will not respect a simple, clearly written 200-foot undisturbed buffer now, at this very early pre-application stage when the entire community is watching, how can any of us trust that this condition and any of the other conditions will be followed once heavy construction begins, once 24/7 operations start, or once the low-frequency hum from cooling fans and generators begin affecting our property values, our health, our quality of life, and access to water? What I've seen so far raises serious doubts about whether the promised protections listing in the zoning approval, like noise, light buffers, and wildlife, will ever be meaningfully enforced. My family and I chose to live in this area directly south of the potential data center site for the quiet, rural character surrounded by nature and wildlife. Our dreams of building a new home and running a farm on this property is put into jeopardy if this project moves forward, because nobody wants to live near a data center. Thank you for your time and listening to my concerns and the concerns of my neighbors.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right, next speaker is Ms. Kelly Saxon. Please come forward and state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Kelly Saxon, a Baldwin Place. The Georgia Department of Transportation is currently accepting applications for the Local Road Assistance Administration funding. This will include funds that was set aside by Governor Kemp in the General Assembly that was amended with the FY 2025 budget. This is a strong opportunity for our county because the funding can be used for road repairs and improvements. We've heard citizens' concerns, and I think this will be a good way to address these concerns. And the good thing about it is that there is no local match required, which reduces the financial burden on our taxpayers. Funds are distributed based on a formula. The application deadline is June 15th. So hopefully there is a way to act on this. Not sure if it's still current or not, but I've been seeing this, so I think it's something that we could look into to see if this is something that we can really use for our county. And this is the opportunity to bring resources, improve infrastructure, and to do so without adding cost to citizens. So over the past 2 years, changing gears here, I've been working actively with the City of Valdosta, including presenting before City Council to take back local ownership of the Craig Center. I'm proud to share that the city has now secured the property and is currently rehabbing the facility to serve as an inclement weather shelter for all of Lowndes County. Today, I'm requesting that Lowndes County contribute $50,000 to assist with the remaining renovations and necessary repairs to ensure the building is fully functional and ready to serve our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next speaker is Ms. Amanda Hall. Please come forward and state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Commission. Amanda Hall, 2102 North Sherwood Drive. Current state law says that if you breed 2 or more litters of puppies per year, you must register with the Department of Agriculture. And here lies the problem. It is impossible to monitor or police. Animal control does not have the time to keep up if someone has bred 1 litter or 20 litters. Director Mike Brown and I have had multiple conversations, and he has straight up said it's impossible to enforce that law. And until the county addresses the backyard breeding problem here, we're never going to get a handle on the dog overpopulation issue at the shelter. It is my understanding, and I may be wrong, but the commission doesn't want to pass an ordinance restricting breeding because you're afraid of upsetting people, telling them what they can and can't do with their dog. My trouble with that is we require people to vaccinate their dogs for rabies. It's mandated. We've done that since the 1940s. And we're not prohibiting people from breeding. We're just regulating it. That's it. Anybody can get a breeder's, well, not everybody, but if you meet the requirements, you can get a breeder's license. And I'm not anti-dog breeder. I'm anti-bad dog breeder. We need good breeders in our community that are breeding dogs that make great family dogs, that are unlikely to bite, and are not a danger to our community. Bad dog breeders don't care about that. They're in for a cheap buck, and every responsible breeder I know is proud that they are licensed. You see, some of these breeders are making $10,000 to $20,000 per litter. I know this firsthand because as a veterinarian, I'd conversations with them in the clinic. They would brag about it. And I know they were not licensed with the state of Georgia. But I promise you, the county is not collecting a penny of the profits that they're getting from selling their puppies. Not a single bit of sales tax. You see, it's the responsible pet owners or even people who don't have dogs. Maybe they don't even like dogs. They're paying the cost to manage, not solve, because we're just managing here, the problem that these irresponsible breeders have created. I would love to know how many backyard breeders have approached y'all to say, please don't regulate us. We don't want to be told what we can and cannot do, and we certainly don't want to pay taxes. Compare that to the number of people that have been begging and begging for years for the commission to do something to solve the problem. Furthermore, if I live in the county, I could literally have 10,000 dogs. I could produce hundreds or thousands of litters per year as long as I don't sell them. And they meet the minimum standard of housing. I give them food and water, and I vaccinate them for rabies by the time they're 12 weeks old. If I do that, I'm not breaking a single ordinance in our county. An ordinance needs to be passed expanding on state law by changing it from 2 or more litters to 1 single litter, whether they're selling them, giving them away, or simply breeding. It would be super easy to implement, and I would expand it to cats, because that's a huge problem in our community as well. If there are puppies or kittens and a female dog or cat that's nursing, it's obvious they're breeding animals. And I recognize the county does not want to pass an ordinance that another county has not already passed. You want proof that it's going to work. And I appreciate that. I think that's wise. But why can't Lowndes County pass an ordinance, implement it, collect the data, and it be the ordinance that other people, not only in Georgia, follow, but throughout the country. The people that are creating the problem should be paying for the problem. So cracking down on backyard breeders would save the county millions.
Thank you, Ms. Hall.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our next speaker is Ms. Keishna Cheek McBride. Did I get that right? Close enough?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. This is my very first time
And I
here.
apologize. Please state your
Yes,
name
I'm
and address.
Christina
for the
Cheek McBride. I'm at 104 East Mary Street, Valdosta, Georgia. Today, I come here to give you a little bit of awareness of who is in your backyard and the great things that we are bringing to our county. I am the founding executive director of Sister Girl Birth Initiative, and I am also the regional site coordinator of the Georgia Black Doula Network. And what we aim to do is to address the maternal and infant health disparities that plague our district here in South Georgia. We offer resources, and we help bridge the gap in some of the health disparities, like I said, with peer-to-peer support. We are also a training institute. We train women to become what's called birth and postpartum doulas, and therefore increasing the maternal health ecosystem and taking some of the health, the burden off of existing health organizations such as the health department and the hospital. We seek to go in the home and be with them bedside during one of the most sensitive and critical moments of their life. Just as a background, some statistics I feel that you should know and why we do the work that we do. According to the latest March of Dimes report, Georgia has one of the highest maternal and infant mortality rates. We rank 45th in the nation when it comes to maternal health. We also have one of the highest premature and low birth weight rates. 11.8% of babies born in the state of Georgia are born with premature birth conditions or low birth weight. Why am I talking about state rates? Because we should always assume that in South Georgia, they are always going to be higher. So, in addition, these statistics disproportionately are affecting African American women and babies. Some of the health disparities that we see are gestational diabetes, hypertension, preeclampsia, maternal mental health disorders, and other socioeconomic disparities that drive these rates higher. And again, these are worse in rural areas. And of course, poor health does not discriminate, but we all know that the rates are higher for us. So that's where we come in as a nonprofit, seeking to, like I said, fill the gap and do what we can. We are going to be, I'm looking at my notes, they're really unorganized. Some of the other things that we do is try to influence a lot of the maternal health policy on the local, state, and federal level. I myself am a maternal health lobbyist at the Capitol all the time, advocating for what we need here specifically in South Georgia to bring awareness. The good news is we have people here on the ground who are addressing and trying to make birth, motherhood better for everybody. So to introduce ourselves to the community, this Saturday we are going to be hosting a community baby shower for all moms. And I did say Georgia Black Doula Network, but this event is open to everybody. We will be giving out diapers, car seats, wipes, strollers. We're going to be having food and games for everybody, and just a way to introduce everybody in the community to who we are and what we can do for them. I plan to draft a joint proclamation, hopefully between the city and the county, to recognize Black Maternal Health Week, to bring awareness to the disparities that plague us here, but most importantly, focus on the solutions that we can do on a joint and combined effort. Lastly, as a candidate for state representative for House District 177, I want to make it abundantly clear that maternal and infant health is one of my biggest passions and focus, and I want to do everything and anything that I can to make sure that we have healthy mothers, healthy babies in that order, and I hope
that if elected to the seat, that I have your support and cooperation to address this matter. I'm sorry I'm full of nerves, but I'm just happy to share with you and be here this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right. Commissioners, any questions, comments you'd like to make? None, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.